again to Cheap Shot Entertainment. I am your host Luke, and we're going to take you through everything that happened on TLC, WWE TLC, as of last Sunday, of which I forget the date. I think it was the 16th. It was the 16th of December. I'm just going to say that. We're joined today by the Spirit of Christmas, Tommy Dreamer. See the Merry Christmas banner in the background. We're also joined by a very disgruntled reindeer. Told me that he was going to sack his agent for booking him on Cheap Shot Entertainment. And also Tommy Dreamer is suplexing the elf, the naughty elf. He's been very naughty and he's getting beaten up by Tommy Dreamer. So yes, a return to form for Tommy Dreamer. But we're going to talk about tables, ladders and chairs. It was definitely one of the better pay-per-views from WWE this year. They've finally woken up and smelt the coffee, so to speak, and they're starting to put on some really good matches. Now, the last couple of pay-per-views have been really good, but obviously the ratings have gone down, so they've really got to pull everything out of the bag for this one, and they certainly did. Certainly by the end there was a few matches in there that were, take it or leave it, but there were no real bad matches. Even the pre-show was decent, but yeah, like I say, we're going to talk about that. So join us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, enjoy the Christmassy type theme for Cheap Shot Entertainment today, and yeah, enjoy the video. Lovely. Just what I wanted. I need a new cup. If anyone wants to send me a new flask, please feel free, because I'll just chuck tea all over myself. And as an Englishman, that's almost as bad as spilling beer. Much better. Moving on to the pre-show for tables, ladders and chairs, we have Elias versus Lashley in a ladder match where a guitar is hung above the ring. Curiously, Elias starts in the ring with a guitar. Now, this brought up a little question. Answers in the comments section down below. If you are already holding a ladder, why would you want to climb up a ladder to retrieve a guitar to use as a weapon? Answers in the comments section down below, or on Facebook or Twitter, hashtag Cheap Shot Entertainment. Yeah, so match is pretty even. Obviously Lashley's got his little mini-me with him as well. Lashley gets on top early but goes for the ladder nice and quickly, but Elias comes back after this. Lio Rush gets a distraction on Elias, so Bobby Lashley tries to get back in, but Elias remains in control of the match. Elias into the ladder in the corner, suplexes a ladder onto the fallen opponent at that point. That is Lashley onto Elias. Elias gets hold of the ladder and uses it as a weapon as well. Lashley suplexes Elias into the ladder. Lio Rush again getting involved in this match. Lio Rush goes for the ladder to try and help Lashley, as Lashley is down and out. Lio Rush tries to climb the ladder, but Elias stops him from climbing that ladder and goes to grab the guitar for the win. Nice quick match. It wasn't a bad match. The ladder was used sparingly, but that's fine. They need to keep some for later on. I don't want to break them all down now. Post-match, obviously, we go to a beatdown from Lashley. He's not happy that he's lost. Beats down Elias, smacks him over the head with the guitar, and yeah, that's your match. Elias wins, but Bobby Lashley has won the war. Incidentally, another question that came up during this match, I know it's pre-show, but promo, mid-match, really? Got two guys giving their all, going out, performing a match, entertaining people, and you're going to put a promo on mid-match. It's not even them talking, it's a promo about a different bloody match. Now, if I say that word, I'm a bit annoyed by this because I like Elias and I don't mind Lashley either, and I think both of them are very underutilised. And in this new era that Mr. McMahon has announced as of Raw this week, you would hope that both of these guys would get used a little bit more and their feud would be elevated onto the main card for the next pay-per-view. But the next pay-per-view is obviously Royal Rumble, so you can imagine they'll both be in the Rumble match, which leaves very little room for any matches whatsoever. So that's fine. It was an okay match. It was a good opener, and like I say, Elias wins. So moving swiftly on to the second match of the evening. It is the finals of the Mixed Match Challenge. It is Season 2. It is R-Truth and Carmella, famed for their dance break. And they're going against Mahal and Alicia Fox for the chance to win a trip, an all-expenses trip to anywhere they like. As a result of winning this, I feel like that's a bit, but there you go. That's funny. It's fun and it's a nice, interesting prize, I suppose. It's better than winning a plastic trophy, best in the world. Anyway, so Mahal and R-Truth start in the ring, start the match. Mahal gets on top early. Very interestingly, one thought I had was that both of these teams are. I wasn't expecting them to be in the Mixed Match Challenge. I haven't been watching it really. I've caught a few episodes, but with Bayley and Finn Balor and the other teams that were on in the Mixed Match Challenge, I wouldn't have put money on these two to become the finalists. Anyway, there is a dance break in the middle. Of course, why not? And the Singh brothers get beaten up as usual. I feel like the only reason they were moved onto the main roster at this point is A, to flank Jinder Mahal in his pursuit of the WWE Championship, and also to provide just fun for other wrestlers to beat up. I do feel sorry for them sometimes because they are quite entertaining and they're a decent pairing actually. I think they should get some tag team wrestling in, but yeah, they're just there to get beaten up, and that's exactly what happens in this match. No different to usual. At that point, Fox jumps Carmella, and the ladies take over. But it's not very long before the men get the tags back in. And R-Truth takes control. Fox then gets a blind tag, tries to beat up R-Truth, gets in his face. R-Truth then takes out the Singhs again, getting a beat down big time in this match. Carmella makes Fox tap, and the winners of this match after that tap out via submission is R-Truth and Carmella. Interestingly, after the match, there was an interview, and they then chose the destination of where they wanted to go. Obviously, R-Truth's still playing the bit of a doofusy type role, and he reveals that they're going somewhere sun-kissed and exotic. Bigger than anywhere that Carmella had thought of. They're going to WWE headquarters, all expenses paid, and that I think that's absolutely hilarious. That is brilliant. That is classic WWE. That is. Can go anywhere, and they're going to WWE headquarters as WWE employees. All expenses paid though, so that's pretty cool. Maybe they get to go in the warehouse. They'll probably do some kind of YouTube videos, some vignettes or something. But I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And congratulations to R-Truth and Carmella. Enjoy your trip to Connecticut. So moving on to the third match, the second match on the main card. It is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It is the Usos versus The Bar versus New Day. New Day is represented by Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston in this one. Interesting choice. I would have thought they might have put Big E in there for a bit of power, but there you go. Maybe they're just thinking that neither of the others can jump. Well, they can actually, because you've got the Usos. Yeah, not sure what they're thinking on that one, but yeah, that's fine. So we've got the Usos and the Bar and the New Day. Kofi and Sheamus start for their teams respectively. The rules of the match is that only two people are in the ring, two superstars are in the ring at a time, and they have to tag in and out, and they can tag to any team. Starts with Kofi and Sheamus, like I've already mentioned. Very quick tag to Xavier Woods, who drops an elbow. Usos get in nice and early as well. The Bar get on top of the Usos, cutting off the ring. But the Usos didn't get a tag, so I think that's something the referee missed. The Bar laying into Woods at this point. The Usos are on the outside and cutting off the ring again, doing some fantastic heel tag team work. Kingston and Cesaro go at it next. The Usos are nowhere to be seen, having been taken out. There's a blind tag by the Usos, and they take Cesaro to super kick City. There's a Cesaro big swing at this point and a sharp shooter, reference to his old tag team partner Tyson Kidd, leading to a missed attempt at a brogue kick. New Day double team, which is a trouble in paradise, and followed by an elbow drop from the top rope. There's a Neo 4, which is then broken up. Kofi then does his thing and he flies to the outside, taking out everybody with his stage dive maneuver. Woods gets distracted by Cesaro, enough for a blind brogue kick from Sheamus to get the 1-2-3. Again, another very good match. The tag team division on SmackDown is absolutely fantastic. Lots and lots of competition there, and tag team wrestling, as I've always known it, as I've always loved it, is very ripe on SmackDown, whereas on Raw it's nowhere. Where are you, Raw? SmackDown, where are you, Raw? SmackDown's getting it right, Raw is getting it wrong in the tag team division. But your winners and retainees of the SmackDown Tag Team Championships are Sheamus and Cesaro, the Bar. And so the next match is one of the biggest matches on the card. Literally, it involves Braun Strowman, and he is going against Baron Corbin, current Raw General Manager at this point in the night. And obviously Braun Strowman, is no secret that he's had elbow surgery, he's on the shelf. He's like an elf on a shelf. If you've never seen that video, go and watch it. It's Braun Strowman playing elf, and it's fantastic. So he's a Braun Strowman elf on a shelf. And the match starts. Baron Corbin comes out. Obviously Braun Strowman, knowing that he's injured, gets the referee to do a 10 count. The referee incidentally is Heath Slater, having beaten Rhino to retain his job. Rhino has now left. I don't know if he's left the company, something I might have to look into. But yeah, he is now a referee apparently, and he's doing Corbin's dirty work for him. Strowman then enters, his music hits, and I've missed that music. Enters with his arm in a sling, clearly not able to compete, but gets help from Balor, who comes through the crowd. Apollo Crews also comes through the crowd, and then you've got Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, who also come through the crowd. And referee Heath Slater also helps as well. So at this point, Baron Corbin is, well, clearly he's going to lose this match. You also get you get double teams, you get an angle slam, because Angle comes down as well. Kurt Angle slam. You get a coup de grace from Finn Balor. Slater puts the ref shirt back on after the beating and counts to 3 as Roman gets the cover for the win. He gets a Universal Championship shot, and Baron Corbin is no longer the general manager of Raw. Corbin is out. Universal Championship shot will take place at the Royal Rumble, hopefully with Strowman at full strength and with no one bashing him over the head with the title. Baron Corbin. The next match is the first women's match, and it's a Raw women's match. It's not for the championship. That comes later on between Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. This is a tables match between Natalya and Ruby Riott. Now, Ruby has been running Riott over the last couple of weeks, really ripping into Natalya and reminding of recently deceased father, even going as far as to put a decal of Jim the Anvil Neidhart onto a table and telling her that she's going to be putting Natalya through it and she'll be closer to her father than ever before. Which again is vintage WWE, I know they said WWF, not the Pandas. Vintage WWE, that close to the bone. And I had a discussion with Woody on this, and he says bit close to the bone, that is. And like, usually with these things they do ask the wrestlers permission, and I imagine with the respect that the Neidharts get from WWE they would have done that. But again, huge respect to Natalya for taking on this match knowing that was going to happen. But yeah, this feud's been quite interesting actually. They are doing one thing right on Raw, and that's the undercard for the ladies, for the women's division on Raw. But yes, the match starts at high tempo with Natalya ripping into Ruby Riott, not giving her 2 seconds. Of course, the Riott Squad is at ringside as well, and they obviously get involved early on at this point with Liv Morgan going through a table and actually injuring herself, and she gets taken out. Logan tries to get involved as well, and she gets taken out. She gets put through a table as well, a table that was set up to put Ruby Riott through, but Logan gets put through the table instead. So we've got 2 tables broken and bodies broken, and yeah, it's a crazy match, really good match actually, so definitely go and watch this one. Yeah, so she gets taken out by body slam, but Riott then gets on top after introducing the Jim the Anvil Neidhart table, with Natty sort of taken aback by it, but Natty does get a sharpshooter locked in on Ruby Riott. Obviously there's no disqualifications or countouts or submissions in this match. The only way to win is to go through the table, but hey, a sharpshooter will definitely incapacitate your opponent enough for you to put them through a table. Uses the anvil table to escape the sharpshooter. That's Ruby Riott using that. Obviously drops it on Natalya's head, so it's like Jim the Anvil Neidhart just dropped on his own daughter's head. And yeah, it's just surreal, that, isn't it, really? But yeah, I mean, it tells a fantastic story, and I was very entertained by this match, which is great. So the table hits Natalya on the head, but Natty brings a table out with Ruby Riott's decal on it and says, "You're going to go through this table with yourself on it," which is interesting, but yeah, a good revelation there. So Natty then tries to put Ruby Riott through the table with Riott on it, and doesn't get the job done. Riott hits a super kick. Ruby Riott hits a super kick on Natalya. Then they both go up to the top rope, and there's a bit of scuffling there to get the upper hand, so to speak, and Riott tries a Hurricane Rana. This is blocked by Natalya. Powerbomb through the Riott table. Natalya is your winner in this one by putting Ruby Riott through the Ruby Riott table for the win. Feel good story on this one. After weeks and weeks of torment, your winner is Natalya in the tables match. And so your next match, we're still continuing with Raw Superstars in this one, is Drew McIntyre, who has been getting a fantastic push since coming up to the main roster, having split with his tag team partner Dolph Ziggler. He is on an absolute tear through the Raw roster, trying to get that #1 contendership for the Universal Championship. And he is going against Finn Balor, the first ever Universal Champion. And I feel like he should be manoeuvred back into a spot where he's fighting for that championship, because he's never been given another shot at it, really. There have been multi-man matches and things like that, but he's, first ever Universal Champion, never lost the championship. He had to give it up. Yeah, I feel like they just need to manoeuvre him better. He's had a feud with Baron Corbin. Obviously now he's having a feud with McIntyre. It might place him in the right place if he wins that feud overall. But he did get a little bit of help in this match. And this is the second time we've seen Balor on a pay-per-view. On this pay-per-view. Which is interesting. So they might be manoeuvring him back into the main title shot as well, so which is good. It's good. I like that. But the match starts with Drew McIntyre getting the better of Finn Balor in the early exchanges. Balor does try and focus on Drew McIntyre's legs, take away the power, take away Drew McIntyre's big finishes, big finishing moves. Drew manages to stay in charge during the match, even with Balor focusing on the pegs of McIntyre. And Drew comes back with an overhead suplex, and he's like, he's 6 foot odd tall, and if he's throwing Finn Balor over his head. It looks brutal, to be honest. And it's it's really, really cool. I enjoy these matches. And strength to deadlift Balor into a vertical suplex is just wow. You have to see these things to believe them. Balor does eventually get back into it with a double stomp, and Balor then tries to fly, hits the high flying move, hits a sling blade, and goes back to the top for a double drop kick into the corner. And then this is reversed into a tilt-a-whirl slam by Drew McIntyre. Momentum is definitely in McIntyre's court at this point. Gets a headbutt on Balor. Balor looks very much out of it. Ziggler comes in, hits a super kick out of nowhere on Drew McIntyre. Obviously they're having a feud as well. Finn Balor's been interjected in that feud because there's a feud between all three of them. And super kick gets a chair, but this backfires on the outside, and the focus is taken off Balor by McIntyre. Bit of a mistake there. Balor then gets the win with a drop kick into the corner, hits the coup de grace nice and quickly, and pins McIntyre 1, 2, 3. The smaller man wins on this one with a little bit of a distraction from Dolph Ziggler, and we'd see that play out later on when Balor is having an interview and Ziggler interjects into that interview. They have a bit of a heated moment of discussion, and Ziggler then throws Balor over some boxes. You can be sure that will lead to something later on. But your winner for this match is Finn Balor, and he beats Drew McIntyre at TLC. So your next match is a chairs match. Thought we'd got rid of these back in 2011. The only other chairs match that I can recall in TLC history was between the Great Khali and Kane. And let me just say, do not go back and watch that match because it stunk. Now, these two guys worked a lot better. They've always had good chemistry, even when Rey Mysterio was in the WWE before. They've always had that really, really good chemistry together. And it's a decent match. Definitely, I'm not gonna say it's the worst match on the card. But it's not worthy of a piss break banner because it was actually quite entertaining. With these two, like Orton's going back to his old Viper roots, and Rey Mysterio is always going to be a fan favourite anyway. And I'm quite liking Rey Mysterio now he's come back actually. But Orton early on in the match goes straight for the chair, but the first blow is struck by Mysterio with the steel chair in hand. Rey misses a corner attack and Orton retaliates with the chair shot. There is a deliberate slow pace to this, and I can see why people would say this is the worst match on the card because of the slow pace, but that's Randy Orton's character. He is on top for most of this match, so he's going to be slow and methodical, and that's just who Randy Orton is and his character. Orton on top after another exchange with steel chairs involved. Rey straight into the chair placed on the announce desk. There's a German suplex onto the announce table as well. Orton face first into the chair in the corner at this point, having been on top for most of the match. Rey Mysterio managed to reverse an Irish whip. Orton goes face first into the chair, then he's placed in the corner. But one quick power slam later, just as Rey Mysterio is trying to go for a high flying move, hits a power slam, gets a near fall. Orton is back on top, but the 619 eventually gets hit by Rey Mysterio, and he goes up to the top rope, but Orton counters again, sending Rey face first into another chair set up in the corner. He puts one in the opposite corner to the one he went through. Orton sets up sorry, I just read that. Orton does set up a bunch of chairs. I put Orton sets up musical chairs. So I thought he was going to have a game of musical chairs. Thought he was going to go light-hearted. Tries to hit an RKO onto the chairs, but backfires, and Rey Mysterio hits a tilt-a-whirl sort of face slam onto the chairs. Rey Mysterio gets the pin, and Rey Mysterio is your winner in the chairs match. Again, an okay match. Like I say, it was the worst on the card, not worthy of a piss break banner. It was good. It was a good pay-per-view overall, and this just was filler in between. It was just that's what it was. That's how WWE saw it, and it was fine, and it did its job absolutely perfectly well. But your winner in the chairs match over Randy Orton is Rey Mysterio, getting some degree of redemption, much like Natalya in the tables match. And so your next match is for the Raw Women's Championship. It is Nia Jax, the #1 contender, and she is going against the champion Ronda Rousey, who has been quite impressive recently on as the Raw Women's Champion, showing up a lot more than Brock Lesnar, which is good. I think Ronda Rousey's alright. I'd really want to see Shayna Baszler come up to the main roster and those two have a feud. Bit like the Triple H and Shawn Michaels feud, where they come together, they make the 4 horsewomen, they have like a really good time, and then Baszler snaps, and you've got a Shawn Michaels versus Triple H situation. And I'm excited to see that if it ever happens, which I'm sure it will. There's going to be a 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match at some point, probably saving it for a WrestleMania, which is fine because that's exactly what I'd expect them to do. But anyway, back onto the match. Early in the match, Ronda gets early offense on Nia Jax, and there's an early attempt at an armbar, which Nia Jax does power out of, which is reversed into a sit-out powerbomb. Lots of moves going in very quickly, very early in this match. High tempo, hard hitting power moves. Rousey gets a rear choke on Nia Jax at this point, tries to make Nia Jax tap out. There's another armbar attempt again early on in the match, but Nia Jax uses her power to break that one as well. Nia Jax gets the $1 Million Dream on Rousey to wear her down. Lots of wearing down moves. This is where the match starts to become a little bit slower paced. But Rousey then comes back, hits a high crossbody off the top rope, but Nia Jax doesn't let it happen very quickly and rolls through. Jax uses her size to get back on top, and there's a suplex bomb, and then Ronda Rousey sinks in the armbar. Nia Jax taps. Ronda Rousey is your winner and retains the Raw Women's Championship. I'm afraid that my notes on this one are a little bit scribbled because I feel like I was getting quite tired at this point and missed a little bit of the match. But your winner is Nia Jax. I woke up just in time for that. And yeah, again, another good match, but it was probably lower down on the card than it should be in terms of the Raw Women's Championship. Again, considering what they're doing on SmackDown with the women's division. But yeah, Ronda Rousey, she is what she is. She does some fantastic things in the ring. She's definitely taken to sports entertainment like a fish to water. And yeah, I'm looking forward to future showdowns with her, some high profile matches probably coming her way. But your winner is Ronda Rousey, and she retains the Raw Women's Championship. And so your next match is for the WWE Championship. It is AJ Styles, the former champion, versus the new Daniel Bryan. Yes, he's dead. The new Daniel Bryan is here to stay, and I'm enjoying Daniel Bryan's heel work on this one. Also puts AJ Styles, elevates him into the main face role for SmackDown. Even more so now he's got a credible contender for his championship matches. And not being the champion, he now chases Daniel Bryan in pursuit of that third championship reign. And they've really done a good job with AJ Styles. Yes, he's had a long reign. His last reign was iffy, but he's only had 2 reigns. By this point that Charlotte and Sasha Banks were on the main card, they'd already had like 6 reigns of the Women's Championship each. So yeah, they're definitely doing a better job with AJ Styles. And obviously Daniel Bryan coming back from a horrific injury, having to retire early, but he's come back, he's hasn't missed a beat, and you can tell he's been cooking up this character all the time while he was off injured. But Daniel Bryan, much like he did against Brock Lesnar, is playing the long game in this match, having AJ Styles chasing around the ring and taking him off his game. Daniel Bryan focuses on AJ Styles' ribs, knowing that a lot of his high flying is based around his core strength, and yeah, he definitely has the psychological edge on this one. Bryan completely on top, very methodical. Clothesline by AJ after a whip into the corner. AJ comes back, goes to the well too many times on this one, gets a bit cocky, and AJ comes back. Styles takes it to the outside. Lots of animosity between these two, especially how Daniel Bryan won the championship with Dick Kick City. Hello, Brian Zane. Yeah, Styles uses the ring steps and the post, and Bryan catches AJ coming off the turnbuckle as AJ gets too cocky. There's no kicks by Daniel Bryan, as opposed to the yes kicks. Obviously, AJ does try for the Star Clash, and this gets reversed into a single leg crab by Daniel Bryan, who doesn't quite get it all synced in, but it's enough to stay in control of AJ Styles. This is reversed into a label lock by Daniel Bryan as well. Sorry, it's AJ Styles who gets the single leg crab. And that's reversed into a label lock. No longer a yes lock, but a label lock. This then leads to AJ escaping the label lock. There's more kicks from Daniel Bryan, but AJ manages to get a Pele kick in on Bryan, a drop kick by Styles, a springboard 450 splash, and a calf crusher. Daniel Bryan then makes it into the ropes to break the count, and a forearm into the timekeeper's area as they go back to the outside. Tries again inside the ring, and this is countered into a roll-up. I expected a submission or something like that, but it was a simple roll-up by Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan retains. Your winner is Daniel Bryan, still your WWE champion, the new Daniel Bryan. And this leads us on to the penultimate couple of matches involving the Intercontinental Championship and, of course, the SmackDown Women's Championship. First up is the Intercontinental Championship match, a feud that's been building up over the past month with Dean Ambrose turning on his Shield brothers the night that Roman Reigns announced that he was battling leukemia. I think they probably pre-planned that. Again, like I said about the Natalya match, they usually ask the wrestlers whether they're cool with it before they go ahead with it, and I'm guessing Roman Reigns just said, yeah, use it, use that storyline, turn it into something good, and they did. And I think it was unfair throughout this match that the crowd was shouting boring, because it wasn't. It was an okay match. It was, and I think even watching at home, if the crowd aren't into it, you're going to lose focus on the actual match and how well it's doing and how good the match is, as opposed to listening to the crowd and thinking, oh yeah, they think it's rubbish, so I'll think it's rubbish. And it wasn't. It was good. It was a good match. Looking, if you turn the sound off, it was a good match, and I think it was unfair for the crowd to shout boring in this match. But Ambrose's new attitude, again, more methodical, bit like a Randy Orton character. He's not going to go for the high-flying, high-intensity moves that he used to do. He's going to be more like a Johnny Garvin. He's going to be more of a Stone Cold character, and people have always said that Dean Ambrose would be the Stone Cold character. And he's definitely transitioning into that at this point in time. So yeah, a good match from Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, with Ambrose being on top for most of the match. Again, like I said, that methodical pace. Rollins favours the knee in this one. Dean Ambrose knows this, having run with his Shield brothers for years and years and years. Gets Seth Rollins into a cloverleaf, goes for the outside attack, and goes face first into the announce table. Ambrose is relentless. Again, Rollins does not get much offense in at this point. Goes for the cloverleaf again after focusing on the leg. Again, Rollins breaks up the attempt at the cloverleaf using the ropes. Rollins does manage to get some offense in, a little offense in here, but does eventually succumb to Ambrose with his, again, slow methodical pace, and slow to ascend the turnbuckle because of his knee, the knee that Ambrose has worked on. Does hit the buckle bomb, but favours the knee again, having carried Dean Ambrose across the ring to hit that move. There's a facebuster from Ambrose, a frog splash. Ambrose does get the knees up, and a suplex into a Falcon Arrow from Seth Rollins. Again, very high paced at this point in time. You can tell the end is coming. Dirty Deeds is hit after some words are exchanged by Seth Rollins, gets a bit cocky, goes for the curb stomp. Dirty Deeds is hit by Dean Ambrose, gets the 1, 2, 3, and your winner and new Intercontinental Champion is Dean Ambrose. Don't think the feud is ended at this point, not by a long shot. There's going to be further matches between these two leading to something big perhaps at WrestleMania, but for the time being, Ambrose is on top, does exactly what he said he was going to do, and take that Intercontinental title from Seth Rollins with his new attitude. And I'm enjoying Dean Ambrose's new attitude. I liked Dean Ambrose anyway. But yeah, I quite like heels. I don't think that's any secret on Cheap Shot Entertainment. But yeah, I am enjoying Dean Ambrose at the moment. So hopefully he can continue that momentum. And again, someone else who needs to be in that main title picture along with Seth Rollins. But yeah, your winner, new Intercontinental Champion. New Intercontinental Champion is Dean Ambrose. So moving on to your main event for tables, ladders and chairs. It is a tables, ladders and chairs match. It is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It is your champion, Becky Lynch, the man, versus Charlotte versus Asuka. And it's nice to see Asuka getting a title shot after being on the main roster for so long, having lost her title match at WrestleMania to Charlotte. It's nice to see her back in the title picture. But this match was absolutely crazy. It was by far the best match on the card. And of note, the first time that the ladies, the women of SmackDown, incidentally, have ever main evented a pay-per-view. So again, another fantastic step for the women's divisions, for women all around the world. And yeah, it's just a really, really good thing, and it shows what they can do. But Asuka gets the upper hand, and that would be the story throughout this match. Asuka sort of hitting her hard kicks, hitting her strong style kicks on Becky Lynch and Charlotte, playing on the relationship troubles between Becky Lynch and Charlotte as well. All three heading for weapons early on, all three trying to get ladders, tables, chairs, you name it. There was all of them used in this match. Becky is sent at one point into a prone ladder by Asuka as well from the top rope, which looked insane. Yeah, the impact just takes Becky Lynch out for a while. Asuka attempts to retrieve the title, but is stopped by Charlotte. Asuka returns the favour and powerbombs Charlotte through a table. At this point, Charlotte's moonsault after the next exchange to Becky Lynch. She goes through a table, going to German announce table for the next spot, and Becky is looking for a ladder to prone opponents. The Asuka and Charlotte are lying on the German announce table at this point. The Germans move very quickly off that announce table, it should be added. And she climbs to the top of a massive ladder in a Jeff Hardy type moment, jumps off the top of the ladder, hits a leg drop onto Charlotte. Asuka manages to move out of the way, hits full on to Charlotte, takes her out for a little bit. Like I say, Asuka moves. Becky meets Asuka on the top of the ladder as she goes for the title again. Charlotte takes out everybody with kendo stick shots, a throwback to last month at Survivor Series when she was beating up Ronda Rousey with the same kendo sticks, and to SmackDown the previous week, the Go Home show on SmackDown, where she got the kendo sticks and started beating on everybody as well. Asuka eventually got the better of that exchange. They then go to the Spanish announce table. Notice how they're missing out the American announce table. Go to the Spanish announce table. Again, the Spanish, like Spanish flies, they just get up and leave very quickly, and there's an exchange by Lynch and Charlotte near there. Spanish announce team, again, are quick to move. Charlotte rains down chops on Becky and sets up the table. Charlotte puts Lynch through the table with a senton. Just a jump off the top, a 360 senton through the table on Becky Lynch. Charlotte then climbs to cut off to retrieve the title again. Asuka then cuts her off, and Lynch manages to get back up somehow and manages to set up a second ladder. Charlotte then manages to beat down Asuka enough for her to fall off the ladder. Moves over to the second ladder where Becky Lynch is, who is trying to retrieve the title over the top of her opponents. We get a surprise entry from Ronda Rousey, who has had her fair share of incidents with these two, with Charlotte and Becky Lynch, and she pushes them off that second ladder, walks away, head held high. Charlotte and Becky are out. Asuka climbs to the top of the proverbial ladder, and the actual ladder, retrieves the championship. Your new SmackDown Women's Champion is Asuka. It's about time. She deserves everything that she has been given on this occasion, and she fought tooth and nail for it. What a fantastic match this was. If you watch any match from TLC, this is the one to watch, and it set the bar very, very high for Royal Rumble, in fact, for Raw, for SmackDown. What a match. Fantastic. 10 out of 10 for these ladies who put everything on the line, putting themselves through tables, putting themselves through ladders. Also, I didn't mention the fact that Asuka got speared by Charlotte straight into the announcers area, into the timekeepers area, through the barrier, which looked painful. And and she still managed to retrieve that title, so well done to Asuka. Again, one of my favourites on SmackDown in the women's division. And your new SmackDown Women's Champion is Asuka. What an incredible match. And that is everything that went down at TLC on the 16th of December 2018. And really good pay-per-view from top to bottom. There was a couple of matches in between that, they were filler, they were fine. They did, the superstars did a good job in them, looking outside of the crowd reaction. The Rollins and Ambrose match was fine. It told the story absolutely perfectly, and I'm a sucker for a story in a wrestling ring being told, and when it's told properly, regardless of the quality of wrestling, it's entertaining, and that is where the entertainment part comes in. But like I say, really good way to end the year for WWE, and looking very much forward to Royal Rumble, which will be your next pay-per-view for the main WWE roster. However, we have a takeover, a UK takeover happening in Blackpool, which I fully intend to do a video on before then. So that will lead us into, that will be the first video of season 2 of Cheap Shot Entertainment. And hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's been a long one, but it was a 4-hour show, so I've managed to condense it quite well, I think. Just want to say thank you to Tommy Dreamer, thank you to the Naughty Elf, to Rudolph for accompanying me on this video. And thank you to all you guys that have made Cheap Shot Entertainment possible. I want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Click the subscribe button, body slam that notification bell so you can know when we upload new content to the channel. We've got some videos coming from games, we've got some movies coming as well, hopefully, and we've got some more wrestling to come before the end of the year. So make sure you do both of those things so you know when we're going to upload. And I will see you next time. I have been your host Luke, you have been the Cheap Shot Nation, and that is it for this video. Goodbye.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We